There's a war going on. The battle is my productivity versus the cold weather versus Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm trying so hard not to lose this. I just want to be a comfy little bug in a rug playing Tears, but also I have so many ideas mixing away in my hyper-advanced chimp brain. And so to keep up my productivity, I present 5 new Evos for older Pokemon. I went through my list of Pokemon and I picked out 5 that I thought might be fun for some new Evos. Also, my list is just the messiest Procreate image you've ever seen, in an ancient undecipherable language. But enough of this, let's go straight into our first new Evo. So Gita kind of reminded us that GoGo exists, but also that it isn't very good. No shade to GoGo, I love the design, but I just wish that it was better. And I think the best way to do that is to give it an evolution. The natural progression from Skiddo to GoGo is sort of like different vehicles, with Skiddo being like a little baby bike and then GoGo being like an actual motorbike. But I didn't want to make the next Evo just be based on a bigger bike, you know? So as a lot of cross-gen Evos do nowadays, I kind of changed the theme a little. What do goats like to do? They eat everything, including a lot of grass, so I decided that GoGo's evolution should be based on a farmer's tractor. Although they don't actually eat things, you can, put attachments on the back of tractors to make them do all sorts of stuff. So I wanted this large stocky frame and going with grass rock, so I could have almost like the sitting area cockpit, I don't know what you call it, but like a monolith on top as a hump. This kind of combines not only goats, but a bit of bison too in the design and feels pretty ancient, like almost a past paradox. I like that the parts of Skiddo and GoGo only imply the vehicle's parts, so I didn't want to go too literal with the design, only having rocks imply the sort of wheel guards and the front of the head looking more like the tractor's front with headlights, and their horns blending more into the silhouette and becoming more for work than people to hold on to. I ended up keeping colours very similar to GoGo's as it evokes the feel that it needs. Then added a bit more greenery to the old goat and it's ready to roll. BLEATRAC, the workload Pokemon, a grass and rock type. GoGo evolves into BLEATRAC after defeating 30 grass types with physical moves. BLEATRAC, unlike GoGo, are built for durability and not speed. They are used by farmers to help clear fields of weeds and even cut down overgrown grass. BLEATRAC's horns and hefty body allow it to dig up massive piles of earth, and even boulders, to move them and prepare the ground for farming. You can still ride BLEATRAC, albeit not as comfortably as its pre-evolutions, and gives a great high vantage point at the top of the mossy hump it has. BLEATRAC has the ability Sap Sipper and Cud Chew. Dhelmise doesn't exactly need an Evo, I'll admit, but I had this kind of out there idea for an Evo and I had to do it. And my shiny Dhelmise name of Redbeard, because I'm too lazy to rename them to Redbeard, would surely approve. So the big idea for it was, what if Dhelmise broke? Obviously it already is a mishmash of certain ship parts that are broken, but what if it had been defeated and its parts needed to be replaced more and more by the kelp that fills in the body? And now it wants its revenge on whatever it did. Dhelmise is already a huge Pokemon, so this would be like some Titan of the Sea as well. I wanted to keep the main eye and anchor of Dhelmise while scattering the parts around to give it some piratey looks, including a peg leg. While the kelp is overgrown, becoming this long, comical mustache and cape, and even an almost gaunt undead body. I wanted to keep it feeling like a natural progression as well, so the anchor leads back into Dhelmise's sort of nose area. I changed nothing about the colours because it looks perfect as is. I can totally see this one using its anchor shot to swing around and just crushing ships from the sheer size of it. Kelpten, the captain Pokemon, a ghost and grass type. Dhelmise evolves into Kelpten when fainted while on the sea holding a leader's crest. A Titan of the Seas even larger than that of Dhelmise, Kelpten are considered a myth and a danger to sailors, said to appear when a ship is mistreated by their captains. Its body is a form of sentient kelp that clings to leftover parts of ships. When it evolves, it tears those pieces apart and rearranges itself. In battle, it can change its shape at will. The anchor it carries is devastating and so heavy it can easily crush a truck. Kelpton's ability is Steelworker. It's time for the fairy segment of our video and talk about two fairy type Pokemon that I really love but don't evolve. Let's first talk about Comfey. Again, this is one where I'm not surprised there isn't an Evo, as there's very much a finale to the idea, but my brain just kept saying Cirque du Soleil Hula Hooper, and I just had to. The general idea was Comfey's body kind of sprouts outward into a much more humanoid shape, almost Muppet-like, and that the floral ring lei it has is much larger, and able to stick more to it, as that part that attaches to Comfey originally is now much longer. I wanted to have it upside down to show this thing can not only float but actively uses the ring to do circus tricks upon it. While it does lose some of the lei energy that Comfey has, I do believe that if something is sort of a cross-gen Evo, it's okay to move a little away from the first original idea. The outfit it wears was inspired by the Cirque du Soleil look, while also having a hula skirt made of that head fluff that Comfey originally had. In the end, I completely forgot to add the actual head tether to the design to show it was connected, so I added that in. But don't listen to this whole load of Faylele, the hoop Pokemon, a fairy type. Faylele evolves from Comfey with a leaf stone. Faylele collect flowers and plants and fashion a hoop on their sticky braid. It will use this hoop to not only perform athletic feats, but it also enhances their healing powers when something is within the hoop. Because of the mysterious fairy energy it contains, Faylele can float around, and seems to enjoy hanging upside down and will even fall asleep like that, similar to Zubat. Faylele can remove the hoop and give it to others. This is the highest form of friendship to them. Faylele's abilities are Flower Veil and Unburden. Ah, Carbink, you poor sweet thing. Shafted by your beautiful queen. I want you to be something more, I need you to be something more, and shine like the diamond you deserve to be. This one took a couple of iterations because I wanted it to be a kingly Carbink, not quite as out there as Diancie, but a more goofy design. As if what Carbink is sitting is actually a shell, and it emerged from it. The first two designs are what I settled on, combining them together to create this emerged Carbunk King. But I do still like the fur design, but was told it was a bit too similar to the Eevee I just did, and I do agree. This evolution would be much larger than Carbink, housing the Carbink themselves in this massive fluffy beard, and it even has little diamond arm and leggies, although it doesn't really want to do anything itself. One of the greatest joys I've had with this design was painting the diamonds. Although I simply just referenced what Pokemon does to theirs, it turned out great. This is a simple design and not too much actual change, but I really love it, and the idea of making it so that Carbink can truly shine like a diamond would be great. Carbunk King, the royal Pokemon, a rock and fairy type. Carbink evolves into Carbunk King while holding a King's Rock at level 35. It's exceptionally rare to see a Carbunk King in the wild, only lucky Carbink will evolve into it. Most prefer to stay deep underground and have Carbink do their bidding. When Carbink returned to Carbunk King's cavern, they will sleep inside of Carbunk King's fluffy beard. The gems on its body are extremely valuable, but removing them would enrage Carbunk King, which they will hold a grudge till they get their gem back or the thief has perished. Carbunk King has the ability Clear Body and Levitate. Now this final one, I'm definitely kind of teasing something for the very far future, like beyond the Star tier planning, but this idea was too fun to miss out on. Delcatty is kind of just wasted potential, much like many other cat Pokemon. And its designs and inspirations are so loose it could really evolve in any way and be fine, so I took it so far beyond what its intended purpose is. Let's get a bit mythical here and introduce you all to Mantacatty. I wanted to keep the cuteness of Delcatty here, but also introduce an air of sassiness. Its fur and mane is more wild and spiky and even makes fake wings. It can't fly, but surely it could leap super high like all cats can. Originally, Delcatty has this sort of cat toy-esque tail, and I turned it into this scorpion-looking tail made of fur, but still deep within that top ball is a deadly poisonous quill. Oh, and a strange stone sitting within the mane of Manticatty. That's real weird. Oh well, I'm sure that won't be brought up in the future at all. Manticatty's colours are leaning more towards a darker purple pink to show off that new poison typing it gains. In the end, I made Manticatty look more ruffled and changed the eyes and mouth just to help make it look a bit more in line with the Pokemon style. Manticatty, the charming Pokemon, a normal and poison type. Delcatty evolves into Manticatty through an unknown stone. Manticatty are prideful Pokemon that love to show off their beauty and love even more to show off how deadly they are. Their tail contains a regrowing quill on the tip that holds a powerful poison. Manticatty can stab or fire out the quill to grievously injure prey, then it simply has to wait for the poison to take effect. It holds the stone in its chest with great reverence, and will only allow the most trusted of people to get close enough to touch it. Luckily, feral Manticatty are few and far between. Manticatty's abilities are Poison Point and Normalize. I noticed after doing these that all of them save for Delcatty, a Pokemon I really enjoyed, so making Evos to them was a real treat. So what did you think of the video? Comment down below your thoughts on these lovable little creatures and chuck a like and sub on the video if you haven't, so that I know to make more Evo vids. Next video we return to Astara to fight the next Beast Titan and experience a blast from the past. But till then, take care of yourselves and I'll see you next time.